Paying for college. This is probably one of the most difficult conversations in this college application process, depending on what your financial situation is. Most of the systems out there for international students want families to pay full, no scholarships available. United States, it's very difficult for international students to gain scholarships. It's very, very difficult to gain a full ride scholarship. There's two types in the U.S. There's two types of scholarships that people can get. It's merit-based, and that's based on grades, SAT scores, TOEFL scores, and most of that money is given out when you apply. And so if you're a competitive candidate, if you're someone that is a good fit for the university, then they may offer up a scholarship in order to attract you to them. That is a merit scholarship. There is need-based scholarships that's based on your financial need. And the way that universities figure that out, I will show you that in a second. For other systems, Canada, the UK, Australia, there are merit-based and other types of scholarships, but there are no need-based scholarships that I am aware of. And to find scholarship money, if you go in those different systems, if you go to, for example, UK, if you go to UCAS, there is scholarship things there. I can tell you in the UK, we have had a couple of students get scholarships. They are of the order of £1 to £2 to £3 pounds. Australia does have some scholarships as well. If you go to the a website that I've said earlier, you can look at some of the scholarships that are there. You can also, if you're targeting some individual universities, you can go to their financial aid or scholarship page and look there. It's difficult because there just isn't a whole lot of money out there for international students. But for the U.S., in a survey, 1/3 of students of universities responded that if you don't have enough money to pay for the full cost, then they will consider that as to whether you get in or not. There's a lot of universities in the United States that just do not have scholarships available for international students, either merit or need-based. And so if you can't pay the full price, they can't offer you the paperwork to get you a visa. And so if you are applying to the United States and you start to fill out the application, one of the questions in the application says, can you pay the full cost, or do you have financial need? If you choose financial need, then there are universities that you may apply to that just based on that, they may not be able to offer you a spot. Usually the scholarship money that is available is given out early. So the earlier you apply, the more likely you are to be awarded a scholarship. So that's another reason why, early decision, that doesn't play a part in this. If you're doing early decision, you're saying you don't care what it costs. You're going there if they accept you. So early action, or even just getting the application in early, sometimes means that you will be able to get to gain scholarships. But for the larger scholarships, usually they have an early deadline date. So for larger scholarships at universities, they want you to get the application in early, and then they want you to apply for the scholarship early as well. And so usually they're in that November to December deadline, even though maybe their regular deadline is later in January or February. Yes. So I already talked about that. Yeah. Need-based aid, right, cannot cover full costs in these scholarships or grants. Okay. Not very many offer need-based aid. Any students that I worked with last year that have need-based, I've given them a list of where they can go to look for universities that offer need-based. But if you want that list again, contact me. There's a CSS form. Let me show you what that looks like. It's CSS profile. And this is what they ask for in terms of if you want to show how much aid that you need. If it's your financial picture, basically, your money that you make on a regular basis, any investments that you have out there, your costs that you have every year, and you kind of give a year snapshot of that. And so for them to give you need-based aid, they need to know where you are in terms of your financial need. So an easy example to think about this, and this is this is by far an easy example. Let's say you turn in, you apply to a school that offers need-based aid, and let's say their total cost for a year is $50,000. You fill this out, and you show that you can only pay $20,000. The university can then decide: do we give you merit-based aid and need-based aid? So they may give you, for example, that gap is 30. So they may give you like 15 in merit-based aid based on your grades, student grades, and SAT, and they may give you 15,000 based on the financial need. Schools like Harvard and Yale, MIT, they have a lot of money sitting around for their undergraduate students. So they don't give out very much merit aid, if any at all. They really look at need-based aid. So even if, yeah, but you have to show that. So if you say, I don't have any financial need for scholarships, and you apply and then you get accepted, you can't then go back and say, oh, by the way, I have financial need. So this is something that you have to be honest with from the beginning. You have to let them know whether you have financial need or not. Now, there's another way to go about this. If, let's say, you determine that you can, that you have about, you can afford to pay about $25,000 to $30,000 a year, but you don't want to fill this out and give up the chance to get into other universities, then we can start looking at universities that cost about $30,000 or cost about $40,000 or $45,000, with the hope that you can get like a $10,000 scholarship that's on merit-based aid. And the way that we do that is we target schools where the students' SAT and GPA score is a little higher than their average, and you're more likely to get scholarships that way. Yeah, and so public schools in the U.S. can be as low as $25,000 per year. Now, there are universities that maybe aren't well ranked. They're usually smaller schools and liberal arts schools, but certainly we can find lists of schools that are affordable like that. Many Canadian schools are cheaper. The more famous ones are not. They're about the same as U.S. schools at this point, but there's a lot of Canadian schools that are much cheaper. Community colleges are a really good deal in the U.S. And so other places that are lesser cost is the U.K. is less than a public university cost, and you only go for 3 years to get a bachelor's degree. So that's a savings. Same with other European schools, that you only have to pay for 3 years of tuition and room and board as opposed to 4 in the U.S. Australia is about as expensive as the United States is. But places like Hong Kong, Singapore, Germany, Ireland are all right now really good places that are cheaper. Again, they don't have a lot of scholarship money, but you can check. If you want to go into more heavy details about this, let me know, and we can talk more about it. But diving into the universities, once you make your list of 10, diving into the universities and seeing what type of scholarships out there is a good idea.